What's going on, everybody? It's your boy SHADOWxHUNTER here, back with another Forza 7 video. Today I'd like to start a new series called Drift Busters. And in the Drift Buster series, I'll be going through different aspects of tuning and building a car to see if one side of that aspect is better than the other. So for instance, today's video is going to be on springs and shocks, or springs and dampening, more specifically using a stiff setting or a soft setting for your springs and dampening. Our test subject for today's video is a 2012 Camaro ZL1 built with 747 horsepower, race spec suspension, and race spec handling parts. There is no roll cage, but it does have chassis stiffening, and it has full race spec driveline, 295 front and 345 rear tires, sport compound with no aero. I didn't want to put too much horsepower into the car because horsepower can hide tuning flaws and allows you to escape sticky situations by just putting your foot down. So I kept a mild 750 horsepower so I can make sure to feel the suspension differences with every tune. Now the track I'll most likely use for every video in this series is going to be Maple Valley. I feel like it is a staple drift track and it'll work very well for the series with every tuning option that we have. So for the testing structure, what I'll do is I'm going to give myself 3 warm-up laps to get used to the car with the base tune. Then I'm going to actually put in the tunes. So in this case, I will use my standard alignment, tire pressure, brake, and differential settings. And then for the first part of this test, I set everything to what I would consider a very stiff tune. Now I don't want to go to one extreme, so it's not going to be 100% stiff on everything, and it's not going to be 100% soft on everything. I want to keep it more of a, this is a stiff tune, this is a soft tune, without getting silly with it. So I set the front spring rates to about 1,015 pounds, rears at about 950 pounds, 11.9 front rebound with 11.3 rear rebound, a 6.9 front bump stiffness, and a 6.2 rear bump stiffness. Now I thought this was a stiff, but yet believable settings. This is stiffer than I would normally put on any of my tunes, so I'm getting a little bit out of my comfort zone here to see how I like it. So with this tune, I gave myself 1 standing warm-up lap, then 2 flying laps to set the highest point record that I could. So with the stiff suspension, any bumps or dips in the road really upset the chassis and it can make the car a little twitchy. So keeping the car under control after going over the hill after turn 3, if you were in a drift, it took smoother steering inputs and smoother throttle inputs. If you were mentally prepared for that hill, you'd be just fine, but if you weren't, it would catch you off guard and it could very easily spin you out. However, I did find the car very predictable when transitioning, and I found the mid-drift steering to be very responsive. Surprisingly, I was very comfortable with this setup, even though I thought for sure I wasn't going to like it, as I tend to have a little bit more give in my tunes. So on my 3rd lap, I set my point record for the stiff tune, and that was at 75,581 points in 1 lap. Now that's going to be the score to beat for the rest of the tunes. For the soft tune, I set the front spring rate to about 420 pounds and the rear to about 330 pounds. I set the front rebound to 4.9 and the rear rebound to 4.0. The front bump stiffness to 2.0 with the rear at a very low 1.7. These were the only settings I changed in the tune between this one and the last one. So everything else should maintain the same. This is the third lap for the soft tune where I set the points record. Now, right off the bat, I noticed it felt a bit more relaxed at angle, so it was easier to drive on the edge. But the steering input wasn't as sharp. If I wanted to make steering tweaks to help increase or decrease angle, I felt like it had a little bit of a lag. It was a little soft compared to the stiff tune. However, bumps and dips in the roads were soaked up nicely with no drama. But during quick transitions, the car was very snappy, and it felt like if you weren't prepared, it could easily snap and flip you around and you could spin out. This was very apparent on the top of the hill right before the back straight on turns 10, 11, and 12. So the record for the soft tune was 77,791, about 2,210 points higher than the stiff tune. Now I do believe this was because I was more comfortable at angle, and Maple Valley is full of sweepers where you're holding angle for longer periods of time and there's less transitions. So for the last test, I took what I learned from the stiff tune, I took what I learned from the soft tune, and applied it to a more medium tune. I set the front spring rate to 865 pounds, rear to 715, which that's actually a little stiffer than I normally would, and there was a little bit more difference between the front spring and the rear spring than I normally would use also. For the rebound, I set it to 9.5 in the front, and the rear at 8.9, and for the bump stiffness I set it to 4.0 and 3.2 in the rear. Again, taking what I learned from the soft and the stiff tunes, I set the bump stiffness a little softer than I usually would, with the rebound a little bit higher than I usually would. Now, following the same test format, I gave myself one standing warm-up lap and 2 flying record laps. And on the second flying lap, I set my highest points for the medium tune. I was definitely more comfortable with this tune, and the car felt very balanced. With the stiffer springs and a little bit softer dampening, the car was extremely predictable in transitions, and it didn't ever feel like it was going to get out of hand. And over bumps and dips, it really felt smooth and controlled as well. On top of that, it even felt pretty decent at angle. Now, it did feel a little bit more touchy the higher the angle went, but it wasn't near as relaxed as the soft tune, but I would much rather have this tune when I'm in a public lobby. Unfortunately, my record lap was only 77,771, 6 points away from all 7s. But more importantly, it was 20 points shy of the soft tune record. Now, being so close, I mean, it's only 20 points. That's like a millisecond in a drift in this game. So being so close, I'm gonna chalk that up to driver ability and not necessarily tune based. I feel like with more practice, if I use this car more often, I would definitely be more comfortable with this car. So the 11 laps around Maple Valley are the only 11 laps I've ever had driving this car with a drift tune. I would much rather have this final tune revision over the soft tune in a public lobby because I feel like it's going to be more controllable and I'll be more comfortable and able to perform more consistently. I feel like with the soft tune I will flop around too much, and there's just certain times where you'll come over a dip mid-angle and it'll just snap the car right out from under you. So with the 3 tests complete, my final recommendation is to use stiffer spring rates, but not too stiff, and pair that with a little bit softer bump dampening and mildly stiff rebound dampening. I think you'll have a solid suspension setup that will handle any bumps and be very predictable. Leave me a comment below if you guys learned something from the video. I really would like to see if I'm giving you guys new knowledge, and if there's anything else that you guys need help with that you think I should test for you. I have some videos planned that I'm going to be doing to further this series, so let me know what you guys are looking to see and I will make sure I cover that for you. If you guys like the video, please give it a like. If you guys like my content and you guys are looking to see when the next Drift Busters video comes out, give me a subscribe. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see y'all in the next video.